Hey, welcome back, quarantiners. I know you're all home cooking, getting creative yourselves. A little episode of Quarantine's Got Talent. Welcome back, the funny foodie queen. Today we're gonna cook a chicken parmesan meatball stuffed with mozzarella and a mozzarella like fried stack with tomatoes, basil, balsamic drizzle. It's gonna be delicious. Follow me into the kitchen. I'm gonna put on my doggy apron since my dog's here today, representing. So here's a list of all the ingredients you're gonna need. You're gonna need an Italian seasoned breadcrumb. You're gonna need olive oil. You're gonna need fresh tomatoes. I'm using 2 types. Shallots. It's like a hybrid of an onion and a garlic. I love these. Some people don't even know what they are. Untapped resource. Love them. And these sweet little peppers. Homegrown purple basil and sweet basil from my garden. And 2 types of mozzarellas today because I actually couldn't find the type I was looking for. Quarantine life is a struggle. You can have something in mind, go to a store and not be able to get it. So here we are. And some eggs. Also are gonna go inside the mix, some ground chicken breast. So when you chop fresh basil especially, you wanna clump it together long ways in a pile. This is important because the way you roll it up is what gives you that little perfect cut, aka chiffonade, but we're not that fancy when you actually use it though. Okay, now you have like little basil ribbons. All right, we're gonna hold it in there. And next we're gonna chop some of these little tomatoes that we are gonna use a combination in our sauce and also in the cold salad on fresh. Because I'm doing 2 fried elements, I also wanna have a lot of fresh elements so it's not overly greasy or heavy. That one tried to escape, but he's going. We're gonna use a mix of different tomatoes, colors, and flavors, so it'll taste really good. We need a bunch of these because the 2 things I'm doing are gonna require a good amount because they're small. Oh, man down. Man down, man down. This knife will legit slice anything in half, including but not limited to your finger. I am scared of it because day 1 I got respect for it. So that's probably a good thing for my clumsy ass. Left it in the box for a month and a half after that day, and here we are, back in the game. Can't even look at you, my life on the line. So the combination we're gonna use in different ways. All right, I'm gonna throw these tomatoes now into the bowl. And I need them for 2 different things. So half of them is gonna go in the bowl and half are gonna go in a sauce. So that's probably good for your bowl. These are gonna go straight into our pan that we're gonna saute, but we're not gonna start that yet. So we're gonna hold them aside for a minute. Next, I'm gonna chop some peppers. My dog is super interested in the cooking show, biggest fan, Blue dude. Blue, hi. So glad you could be with us today. Always the sous chef in the kitchen, Mr. Blue. Now, these peppers we're only gonna use some in the sauce, so they taste real good. And again, we're not doing these crazy chef chops, we're doing rough, crazy chops that get dropped in there because your family does not care. All right, so we got our tomatoes, our peppers, our basil started, and next we're gonna chop some shallots. Shallots are literally delicious in so many things, and when I was younger I didn't even know what they were. New thing, if you've never made food with shallots, go out and buy some shallots. They are in your produce section. Super yummy, garlicky, oniony, hybrid, not strong onion. Doesn't really bother your stomach if onions do. And you take off the outer layer. This nail is so dysfunctional. Quarantine nails, they bend because they're natural. Oh. Alright. So now you want to cut them in half and lay them belly down so you don't cut yourself chopping. Then you're gonna rough chop. Not small, but you know, kind of small. Alright, so I'm gonna season these. Put some salt, a little bit of pepper. I'm gonna use a little bit of olive oil. I'm gonna add a little bit of this basil, fresh flavor, so when it marinates it tastes extra good. A little bit more because it's not as green as I'd like it to be. Alright, and we're going to stick these in the fridge and wait till our mozzarella stack is actually put together later to pull these back out. Next, I'm going to prepare the mozzarella so that it's ready for the stack later. And I'm going to cut this into big slabs only. Perfect. And this is going to be stuffed into our chicken meatball. Alright, looks like a good amount. So we're turning in our pot, we're gonna add some olive oil, we're gonna add our tomatoes, we're gonna start to like saute them down with a little bit of these peppers and shallots for the sauce that we're actually gonna pour over that chicken parmesan stuffed meatball. So to the hot pan, we're gonna add some oil. I'm gonna bring some of these shallots over. We're gonna drop them in that hot pan. You know it's hot because you can hear it. Maybe like 2-3 minutes realistically, but you're only gonna see it for a second. But about 2-3 minutes. Sweating a vegetable just means putting it in a pan, moving it around, making it a little brown. Sweating. Alright, so these pans get really hot. So I'm gonna lower it a tiny bit. Next gonna add, these peppers. And I'm gonna add the tomatoes just as quick because I want the wetness from the tomato in here because it's pretty hot. A little more olive oil drizzle. Sorry, Jack. Shout out to Jack, the cameraman. He always does such a good job. One of my friends actually thought I did both the recording and the cooking. Like, I'm not that talented. Thank you. Alright, so now we're gonna lower the temp to a little less than medium. A little bit less than that because this pan's super hot. Give it a go. Now I'm gonna add a little bit of white wine. It's a little bit of a dry Chardonnay. And when I cook it down with the tomatoes, it's gonna give it an extra delicious flavor. Since we're gonna cook it for a while, we're gonna turn it back up to medium though. So the wine gets hotter and actually cooks the alcohol out. But when our sauce is poured over our chicken parmesan meatballs, it's just gonna be very aromatic, wine-ish, herbs, tomatoes. It's really delicious. Very Italian flavors. The first couple of videos I did, I actually didn't do Italian food, and some of my relatives especially are like, you gonna make anything Italian? Alright, to keep it a little more traditional, we're actually gonna add a little bit of a canned tomato to make it a little bit thicker and a little bit more of what you expect, I guess. And we're gonna mix it all together and we're gonna cook it down. Now we're gonna crack these eggs into a container. Careful not to get any shell. Now you're gonna beat your yolks and whites together. This is gonna be the wash on the outside of the actual meatball and the mozzarella cheese. I'm gonna add a splash of water. Some people add milk. 2 little splashes, I guess. So we're gonna add some pepper. And I'm gonna add a little bit of this garlic herb black pepper sea salt. It's a really good little herb. I actually got this at Walmart and I found it during the quarantine and I like it a lot. And my best friend put me onto another one that I'd like to show you all. That's this one. Delicious on a lot of things. Vegetables, potatoes, chicken, meat, whatever. Really good. Okay, so now you're gonna whip your herbs and eggs together. Boom. Okay, so now, all right, we'll prepare the breadcrumb mix. So I'm gonna put that in here, a good amount, because I'm doing a few different things with it. Romano cheese from my daddy's restaurant. Thanks, Pops. I'm gonna put a little garlic in there, because garlic's good in everything. And I'm also gonna put a tiny bit of onion powder. I'm also just going to use the last of this because I have it and I told you it was really good and it has legitimate delicious flavor. So everything's all mixed. Now we're going to take the first thing, which is going to be these mozzarella pieces, and I'm going to do them in the egg wash and bread them. Oh, actually last time I did this twice. I'm gonna keep it the same because it was amazing. So egged once, breaded, and egged again, and breaded. And then set it aside on a plate. Get to the next piece. You're gonna egg and bread both sides again. I love food and creative things, and I hope at home you're enjoying my crazy little recipes and fun ideas and new things to do with things that are actually in your fridge. Just get creative, you know, flavors you know taste good together, put them together, make it happen. All right, last little piece. How good did that fit? All right, next I'm gonna add the chicken to the bowl, and I'm gonna add some breadcrumbs to the top. A good shake that I'd say covers the whole top of the meat. And I'm gonna add 1 egg per pound of meat. This is only 1 pound of meat. All right, come in. Work with me, egg. Okay, next you're gonna add some cheese, Romano cheese. Gonna add some parsley. I would add fresh, but we're gonna do the fresh herbs later, so I'm not really worried about it. Gonna add a little sprinkle of that I showed you earlier. I'm keeping it all the same stuff so you can buy less things and make this whole meal for not so expensive, and all purchased pretty much at Walmart today. Okay, so after the herbs are added, we're gonna add the peppers. So you'd like to think you can actually mix it with a spoon. Me, I'm gonna actually put gloves on and get in there and mix them so I can make meatballs, and they're all gonna be formed perfectly, and even though my hands are washed, I don't need to touch the raw either. All right, so you're going in there and you're gonna squish. So you're gonna like do this. Oh my God. Motion, you saw it fly. So mixing that in. Next I'm gonna make the meatball and stick the actual mozzarella inside. Once you think it's all evenly mixed, I'm gonna start to roll meatballs. You're gonna grab a handful, kind of grab like 3 of these little mozzarellas. Grab a little more meat and cover it up so that when you make a meatball out of it, you're gonna fry it and it's gonna have a little mozz interior. All right, our first meatball. You need to make them kind of big, so in order to have like a center that's pretty decent, they have to be kind of larger sized. It's a little harder with the gloves. Raw-handed it is okay also, everybody who doesn't have a pair of gloves due to the pandemic. We're gonna need to stir our sauce in a minute, but I'm gonna finish with these meatballs because I'm close. All right, this one's got a lot of mozz in it, so whoever gets this one's like the surprise crazy killer. Boom. All right, we're gonna fry those up in a minute. All right, so to the egg mix we were using before for our mozzarella, I'm gonna add 1 more egg. I'm gonna mix it in again. All the seasonings are already there, so I'm not even gonna add anything but that egg. And each one of these meatballs is gonna be dipped in this egg and then that breading. So I'm gonna take a meatball. Never did this before. Know it's gonna be amazing. Not even worried. Boom. Okay. We make a little mess, but obviously when you guys are gone, we clean it. These little snowballs with mozzarella inside are gonna be real. All right. Next we're gonna fry those babies up. I'm gonna first heat it to hot, and then when I actually drop them on, I'm gonna drop it to like medium, a little bit more than a medium. So this pan's pretty hot feeling, so I'm gonna add some oil. I'm gonna fry up our meatballs. So we're gonna use a decent amount because we want it to be crunchy on the outside and delicious like your mom would make it. I don't even use as much oil as the old school Italians do, even though this looks like a crazy amount. I'm old school. Their stuff tastes so good though. Okay, so it's pretty hot. I'm gonna lower it to a little bit more than medium. Gonna drop the meatballs in the hot oil. Now I'm gonna turn it down to medium because the pan's actually really, really hot, so I don't burn the outside before you cook the inside. But that crisp, woo. All right, I'm gonna keep cooking them. We're gonna do them on like 4 sides so they're crunchy everywhere. They're cooked all the way to the middle. So since my meatballs are actually stuffed and they're pretty thick and big, I'm gonna use a lid from any pan whatsoever that fits semi-similar. And I'm gonna put it over the top so that the heat actually stays in and cooks the interior of this meatball before it burns the outside. All right, so we're gonna pull those off of that heat. All right, so we're gonna start with a new pan just so we can utilize space easier. And we're gonna do the fried mozzarella real quick. That's literally 2 minutes on each side once you have the pan hot and oiled, so you're gonna have to pay attention. All right. A little more health in your life? Don't judge. It's a quarantine. When you roll me out of my house in a few months, don't be confused. We've been out here cooking. Okay. Gonna fry that for about 2 minutes till they're golden brown on each side. We're gonna flip them over. We're gonna pull them right off and we're gonna be making the salad and eating dinner. It's gonna be amazing. I'm so excited. So when you see the cheese start to ooze out on the little edges, you're gonna take your spatula and give it a flip. Perfect color every time. Oh, come back here, sir. Okay. Boom. All right, so now I got my plate, double paper towels to soak up the grease, and I'm gonna take them off on a spatula that has holes in it, so if there's any extra oil, it will drip right off. Everybody ready? So instead of your basic little mozzarella, we gave it the fried little crunchy. So we're gonna take one fried little crunchy patty for each, and one of the bigger ones on the bottom. You're gonna take a scoop of these tomatoes we prepared earlier, put it in between each level. You're gonna take one more crunchy patty, put it on top, and you're gonna add more tomatoes to both as we go. Next, I'm gonna add my fresh basil. I'm gonna do a good amount because I like it and it tastes really good. We're gonna add a balsamic drizzle to the entire plate. It literally requires nothing else. So it's a tomato mozzarella basil stack. Olive oil, garlic, seasoned tomatoes, fresh basil, fried mozzarella, and fresh for the bite tomato. We're gonna bite in and you're gonna love it. So we're gonna plate our meatballs. We're gonna put 2 on each plate. Then we're gonna take our sauce. We're gonna give it a rough little drizzle across. I'm excited. Last, we're gonna sprinkle it with a little bit of herbs from the garden, and we are gonna try this baby. Yes. I'm excited, for real, for real. Best new recipe for real, created. Love you all. Seriously, make this because your family's gonna love you too. See you next time, Foodie Queen. We out here funny, chilling, cooking, loving life.